Have you ever wondered why African people are the only people on the planet with kinky or coarse hair?
The hair on your eyebrow is straight. The hair on your head is not the same as the hair on your eyebrow. But the hair of every other people is the same as their eyebrow.
You won't believe it, but your hair texture has less to do with your skin color and more about migration patterns and interbreeding. Oh man, that's not true. What about the East Indians? They're dark skinned and their hair is... No. What about the first Native Americans? Their hair was... No. What about those dark-skinned black people in East Asia? Their hair texture is... Oh, you messed up now because those Aboriginals in Australia are blackety black and their hair texture is straight. Again, your hair texture has nothing to do with skin color, but more about migration patterns and interbreeding. Let's dive deeper into that. Everyone should know by now that every race and ethnic group living today first originated from the continent of Africa. That's why they call it the motherland. But wait, doesn't this make everybody on the planet African now? No. Although most people will argue that race is a social construct, there are things in biology, culture, and history that makes us a unique race.
Hey, Urkel, I thought Andre was doing better.
Well, he is. But what he really needs is a bone marrow transplant.
Well, why don't they just give him one?
So it's really hard finding a match. And Andre's best chance for one is with another African American. And
I know this flies in the face of your we are the world mentality, but there are things that make us a distinct, unique racial group. And one of the main reasons we have the distinct hair texture that we have is that our ancestors did not interbreed with this fella right here, the Neanderthal.
This is a skull of a modern human, and this is from a Neanderthal. Look closely and you can see that this one has a slightly longer brain case. Most scientists believe that these are two separate species, and there wasn't much interaction between the two. But now we know there was interbreeding, and that all non-Africans living today are part Neanderthal.
The Africans who came out from Africa have no evidence of any Neanderthal genes in them. No evidence of admixture. So they're the real pure humans.
We invited 6 well-known friends of the museum to have their DNA tested.
We all ask ourselves these questions from time to time. Who am I? Where do I come from? How did I get here?
I was pretty convinced that my heritage came from Africa, but my mother is fairly fair-skinned, so I'd always assumed that she had some European blood in her.
Around 55,000 years ago, within the population that had left Africa, there was a major split in one of these maternal lineages, one that produced 2 main divisions. And one group largely stayed in Western Asia and eventually migrated also into Europe. The other group headed eastwards towards the Far East. The modern humans that moved out of Africa and into Western Asia moved into an area where the Neanderthals were living. They're evolutionary cousins. They must have met, and there was some interbreeding between them.
I mean, obviously it may not have been as pleasant as all that, the interbreeding, but you would like to think of it as a nice, pleasant coming together. It was probably a bit grimmer than that. But the idea that poor old Neanderthals were pushed to one side, that they live on a bit in us, and I'm glad there's at least 1.8% of them in me.
I wasn't aware that I'd have any Neanderthal in me, although probably some of my friends and family would disagree.
I come out as quite Neanderthal. I was quite surprised. Dad said that my mum is a bit short and stocky, so he imagines that the Neanderthal side of the family is definitely hers.
The modern humans that remained in Africa don't show traces of Neanderthals in their DNA. The modern humans that remained in Africa don't show traces of Neanderthals in their DNA. Their ancestors never interbred with Neanderthals, so there's no Neanderthal DNA there.
As it turned out, I had no Neanderthal ancestry at all. Now, actually, with a retrospectroscope, I think maybe it would have been nice to have a bit.